5280 Sports Network. Nate Lundy, Sean Drotar with you. Our morning minute on a Thursday as we continue to roll through Colts week for the Broncos. Another home game over at the stadium as Andrew Luck and company will come calling on Sunday afternoon. But at Dove Valley was the spot on the Google map that everybody was paying attention to, Sean. And once again, the topic, we talked about it yesterday morning on the Morning Minute. We talk about it this morning as well. The big topic, Demaryius Thomas, the rest of the wide receiving core going into Sunday. He was out there. He was kind of in like the full sweats outfit, like it was about 10 below, but still, he was out there working out with them, doing footwork drills, things like that. What did you see? Do you still have the same concerns that we had yesterday morning?
Very much so. Nate, he took about a third of the snaps of practice, and he was seen multiple times actually slamming his fist on his hip, trying to get it to loosen up a little bit. I think that's concerning. The Broncos feel that he's still on track to play Sunday, but you've suggested, Nate, that perhaps this is something of gamesmanship on Gary Kubiak's part because his fellow, the backup, Benny Fowler, recovering from a broken right elbow, was also out there at times in practice. But the Broncos also listed him officially on their practice report as did not participate. So I wonder if there's a little bit of, if not funny business, a little bit of, do as I say, not as I do sort of going on with the Broncos' practices and injuries at this point of the season.
All right, and we obviously know the Broncos do have some great wide receivers. You're dealing with Jordan Norwood. You have Sunshine out there. You've got guys I think you can lean on. Emmanuel Sanders certainly as well. Do you want Benny Fowler and Demaryius Thomas out on the field? Of course you do. You want to see those players be a part of the rotation without having to dig too deep into the depth chart. But at the same time, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again today, this is week 2 in the NFL, not week 12 or week 15 or even divisional or conference playoff games. You need to have the guys healthy then. I don't think it's worth risking the injury. We'll see what happens. The other reason why you can feel good about it, said this on the Fantasy Football Hour television show with Brad Evans, I'll say it here as well. C.J. Anderson will be the number 1 running back in fantasy this week. The Broncos can run all over the Colts based on what we saw the Detroit Lions able to do against the Colts in week 1. So I think you can also rely on your running game. I think you can get Capri Bibbs, Devontae Booker. You can get those guys involved and take advantage of Virgil Green as well, and not necessarily, Sean, have to be too concerned that Demaryius Thomas isn't out there.
No, and I actually still think there's a little ground to be gained in the passing game. Remember, Vontae Davis is out. He's still out for going to be another 3 to 4 weeks before he returns. Both of their starting safeties suffered small injuries. They're expected to play, but they're sore, they're dinged up. This is a battered Colts secondary. You're going to probably have to back guys off the line just to help them out a little bit. So I think there will be plenty of options for the Broncos to be able to get things done offensively. Defensively, there's always a concern because Andrew Luck is dangerous. He can do things on his own that other quarterbacks can't do. But all in all, Nate, for week 2, we're talking about who knows what the Broncos were going to look like in week 1 with Trevor Siemian. Now week 2, Broncos fans, understandably, feeling pretty confident.
Absolutely. Also, a shameless plug here for you. Sean and I have not talked about it a lot on these videos. We certainly have addressed it on the air, and there's been a lot of talk about it with the protests that have taken place during the national anthem. Brandon Marshall, of course, from the Denver Broncos, a part of that. So a quick shameless plug that we weren't asked to do, but that we think is very much worth it, and that is on Vic Lombardi's football show on Altitude Television. He has a sit-down interview that's going to air Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock with Brandon Marshall, and in fact, Brandon's mother is a part of that, Barbara, as well. Vic, as we all know, is a great interviewer. Make sure you check out that interview, especially if you're somebody that's trying to understand everything that's going on, regardless of which side you're on in all of this. I hope you'll take the time to be able to watch it.
Grab a copy of the Denver Post as well. Marshall wrote an op-ed today that's a fascinating read. Make sure you check that out to get really an all-around viewpoint of what's going on in that situation with Brandon Marshall and the controversy, depending on where you're looking at.
I've said many times, doesn't matter to me which side of the argument you're on, as long as you're educated enough to understand why you're on that side, I'm good with that. It's our morning minute for a Thursday. Back with you for a Friday edition tomorrow, also on Mile High Sports Radio, starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow. For Sean, I'm Nate. See ya.